Coming up tonight on CTV News, a generous donation from Christchurch's sister city in Japan, and we speak to Rugby World Cup CEO Martin Snedden. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Canetta Knight. As we all know, Japan suffered an earthquake followed by a tsunami only 2 weeks after Christchurch's own devastating earthquake. But Christchurch's sister city is still helping out. Emily Cooper has more.
Christchurch's sister city, Kurashiki, has donated a cheque for nearly $300,000 to the Merrill Fund. Along with this, a further $30,000 has been donated from the city of Kobe, who Christchurch supported when they suffered a devastating quake 16 years ago.
This is stunningly important. We've got two cheques here. This large cheque here, which will have trouble banking, but I'm told it's already been banked, the money, so it's a representation. Which is for $286,000, and that comes from the people of Kurashiki, which is Christchurch's sister city. And the people over there collected around the streets, on railway stations, businesses gave money. The local council topped it up, but just by a tiny amount. So this huge amount of money comes from the people in a town in Japan who are thinking about us in the midst of their own problems and their own issues. So what can we say except this is unbelievable, and it's absolutely so generous and gratefully received. Now the second cheque that I have here, which is in this beautiful envelope here, is for around about $30,000, and this actually comes from Kobe. Now, you might remember Kobe was devastated by an earthquake some years ago, and at that time our city offered to help, and we had I think 150 children who were billeted in Christchurch for 3 months while their parents rebuilt their homes and got on with their lives and tried to get things back to normal. Those young people are now adults. 15 years later, they went out into their community up until the day of the big earthquake that struck off the northern coast of Japan. And up until then, they'd collected all around their city, and these young people have got about $30,000 in there. So from a country that's a long, long way away, who have some links with our city, they've never forgotten what the people of the city did for them, and they feel very strongly that this is their chance to remember us and to help us. And it's the best of human nature. It's very special, and it means a great deal to the people of our city.
The Christchurch Kurashiki Sister City Committee believes in time of need the sister city relationship is important.
Christchurch has had a sister city relationship with Kurashiki for quite a number of years. In fact, we've got our 40th anniversary coming up in a year or two's time. So it's the longest or the oldest sister city relationship Christchurch has with another city. And it is one that means a lot to both Kurashiki and Christchurch. It's a very active relationship and is based on some education exchanges we do with Kurashiki and frequent visits from people of Christchurch to Christchurch.
And Steve believes the money will help Christchurch's rebuild immensely.
I think it's very important, particularly from the point of view of the relationship. The funds that were raised were pretty much raised through citizen donations in Kurashiki, so just the ordinary Kurashiki people giving money. They raised probably 90% of the money with a top-up from the City Hall, their City Council. And I think that shows the depth of the relationship and what they think of the importance of the relationship. So yes, it's a very, very strong, very important relationship.
Committee member Newton Dodge experienced firsthand Japan's suffering from the quake.
Yes, we had arranged to go to Kobe and Kurashiki and Osaka to talk to them about the fundraising that they were going to do for Christchurch. We decided to go, picked a date, but the day before we went, they had their earthquake, so we had almost a double whammy. When we arrived there, it was all talk about Japan's earthquake as well as our experiences here. Our main reason for going to Kobe was that 16 years ago, Kobe had their big earthquake, 1995, and we in Christchurch had the opportunity. I was asked to do homestays for about 150 children from Kobe who were shipped to Christchurch, and we looked after them in homestays here for about 3 months. And they were wanting to say thank you now because of what we did for them. They were looking to raise funds for our Christchurch earthquake. So we went over and spoke to many groups and helped them with their fundraising and brought back a cheque for just over $30,000 to present to the Mayor, and we're going to be doing that.
Anne Newton says there was sympathy for Christchurch from the Japanese people, even after their own devastating quake.
But when we got there, of course, we were preempted by that one day, and it was a two-way talk. So each time I spoke to groups, it was to relate the same feelings that we had as they had had in Japan. It was surreal to arrive there, and people said, "You're coming all the way from New Zealand and you've come to an earthquake country." But it was pre-arranged and we had done that, and we enjoyed the time speaking to community groups and the people that were doing the fundraising. And to us it was a huge donation. To them, they were embarrassed because they needed to cut short their appeal, and they were able to present that $30,000 to our mayor, and they then needed to raise funds for their own appeal.
Deputy Chair David Bolam-Smith says he was helped during the quake by the people of the city.
When we got the money from Japan, we were so grateful, and the firemen or the rescue squad came down from Kurashiki, sent by the mayor, and they helped me pick up all the rocks and bricks off my house. And I was so grateful, not only physically, emotionally, that they did that for me. And then when I had the opportunity to go to Japan, I just wanted to go down to Kurashiki and thank them personally, not just by email or letter. And it's been arranged, and there's a mural reception for us when we go down on the 22nd of June, and the Friends of Kurashiki and we're having a reunion, and I'll have that opportunity to convey personally on behalf of everybody here in Christchurch our gratitude and thanks that they made that splendid and generous donation in their time of need as well. And also when I go to Tokyo, hopefully I'm going to attend a sort of a fundraising dinner hosted by the ambassador of New Zealand in Tokyo, and there's 500 people invited, and they hope to raise lots of money not only for New Zealand and Christchurch, but also for Japanese earthquake victims as well. So it's good.
And he says while Japan is going through its own disaster, the kindness of the people of Kurashiki is immense.
For me personally, I really feel that this is where sister cities show their strength, and we become one people, two countries, and I just hope that lots of people will see the worth of the sister city movement that we've got, and it's just one of the most moving experiences I've had in my whole life.
And the money will go to various areas of the rebuild and possibly a memorial to the Christchurch quake victims.
This money will be going into the mayoral fund, and it is for use probably for projects or groups in our community, and there's a process for people to apply for that. So this is not money that's going into welfare as such. That's really the preserve of the Red Cross Fund. This is money which is specifically be given to a special mayoral fund for us as a council to use for groups or maybe heritage or reconstruction of specific things. I think one of the things that we would be doing with this money is, or some of this money is using it for a memorial when the time is right. I think we as a city need to talk to each other and to the countries that have lost young people in the earthquake here and decide on some appropriate form of memorial. We're not rushing that process. There are many things to do. Probably about a year out, I think that would be about the right time.
A meeting was held yesterday with key parties involved in re-entry and recovery at Pike River Mine. Although the meeting was held at a private location in Christchurch, the media was briefed late yesterday afternoon. The meeting took place between police, the Crown Prosecutor, the EPMU Union, the Department of Labour, the Pike River Receivers, the Mine Rescue Service and the families of the miners. The purpose of the meeting was to reach an agreement from all the parties about gaining access to the mine and recovering the 29 bodies. We spoke to Nicholas Davidson QC today, who says there was an agreement reached committing to examining this process. The Pike River Receivers will seal the mine shaft, and this process should be finished by the end of July. It is thought it could take a number of months before the bodies are recovered. Burglaries have spiked and drunken behaviour has become a huge issue in Christchurch since the quake, as Emily Cooper explains.
As reported on Friday, a 6-month temporary alcohol ban will prevent people from drinking in public places in Riccarton and Ilam. With problems increasing in the suburbs following the quake, the liquor ban has been established due to the influx of people drinking in the suburbs since the quake.
What's happened is that we've had displacement because we've lost about 130 odd premises in the inner city, and so you've got all those people that used to drink in the inner city are now dispersing out to local premises. Most of the trouble that we're having is in and around licensed premises, say around Riccarton, some of the Mirabale area, some of the Papanui area, and it's mainly people consuming off-licence alcohol. So they're drinking in their cars, they're drinking on the street, which tends to aggravate problems in and around those premises because it's uncontrolled drinking. So that's a problem for us.
Police in the Riccarton-Wigram Community Board want the ban to stop alcohol-fuelled trouble.
It gives us another tool to move people on. Because we have the discretion to either arrest, to summons, to warn, it just gives us that ability to move people away. And most people will actually abide by the liquor ban. Most people are reasonable. Most of the students that we've dealt with out there are reasonable until they get to that point of intoxication, then reason goes out the window. So that's our biggest problem. So that's how the ban will help. It actually help mitigate some of that risk in those areas. And a lot of these areas are residential. They're not used to large numbers of people migrating from one place to another, from party to party, from licensed premise to party, from back and forth. And so when you get all that migration, that's when you get the problems on the street.
The Christchurch City Council is now considering making the ban permanent. The council is also investigating temporary or permanent bans in Mirabale and Akaroa and amending the current alcohol ban in Papanui. However, other suburbs such as Halswell have also seen problems.
On Sunday morning, I opened the nursery as usual, and I found out that our big topiaries, around 4 to 5 of them, have been broken by vandals.
Jean thinks there is a problem with drunken behaviour in the area.
Yes, I believe so, because I saw some can of beer and can of liquid.
Jean says she believes the police have not looked into the matter. She says she's contacted them 3 times. And although nothing was stolen from Jean, the suburbs have seen an increase in burglaries. Police say there have been a spike in burglaries in the Ilam, Riccarton and Halswell areas, with many of them occurring at night. It was also reported that burglars have hit stores in the red zone. There are now extra patrols in the suburbs that had seen a spike in burglaries, particularly weekend day and night shifts.
We had a substantial increase in the number of burglaries that we traditionally have, and we've thrown a few resources that way to try and find the people responsible for it. To that end, we're also just asking that people become aware and look after their properties, take care to locking doors and windows when they don't need to leave them open, taking keys out of door locks, making sure the cat flaps people can't reach through and get keys, and just taking note of what's happening around them, whether there's suspicious people or cars in the area, and if they see anything they're not quite sure of, to give us a ring.
Coming up after the break, Rugby World Cup boss Martin Snedden. Welcome back. Yesterday, the CEO of the Māori television channel, Jim Mather, came to the CTV offices and presented us with a special gift on behalf of the Māori channel.
For us, it's been really important to support CTV as a fellow niche broadcaster, if I can use that term, and we understand all of the challenges that go with being a small broadcaster, and clearly we were very concerned after the tragic circumstances after the earthquake, and thought, what can we do to help our fellow broadcasters at CTV, and initially for us it was about providing access to our transmission platform so a national audience could actually see and hear what the CTV perspective on a whole range of your local issues were. There's a lot of aroha for CTV, as you saw during the telethon, and so I just wanted to come here and just, on behalf of the whānau of Māori television, all 169 of us, present this toki to you. A toki is an axe, a ceremonial axe, Basically, what it refers to is the strength and character of the organisation, and saying that, you know, no matter what happens, like the Tuki, you know, you will remain. So I present this gift to you and wish you well for the future, and look forward to the continuing rising up of CTV. Kia ora tātou. Thanks very much.
Pete Smith spoke to World Cup CEO Martin Snedden today about what we can expect from the upcoming World Cup.
CEO of Rugby World Cup Martin Snedden is in Christchurch. Martin, what brings you to town? We're not in the World Cup.
No, you are going to be. I just wanted to get down here and just sort of get a real feel for how things were sitting, and to have a whole lot of conversations with key people around Christchurch, including you, about how best to connect the people of Christchurch with the tournament in a way that actually is for the best of the people, rather than necessarily just the tournament.
So what are you selling?
Well, I think it's about just starting people understanding that the festival's coming, and that's going to be the best way probably for the community to attach themselves. There'll be some announcements about that coming fairly shortly, but it's just about finding a way, I think, for your community here to enjoy the event, and that's pretty critical to me.
Can you just pad out a wee bit the festival? What's in mind?
Well, there's a whole lot of events that are scheduled to take place in Christchurch, and there have been for a long time, so each of those have had to be worked through and say, okay, is this still feasible? And in most instances the answer is yes, and where there's been obstacles, solutions have been found to this. But at the end of the week, I think we're going to hear something from government about where people can congregate in large numbers, and how it is that, say on match days, that they can start to enjoy what's happening on the screens and with the rugby itself, and use that as a vehicle for the community being together.
What will come with the festival? Some headline acts? What's the story?
Yeah, well, I think there's an intention to use as much talent, much Kiwi talent as there is around, to come in and just entertain people and get them involved. There's also, it becomes an opportunity for people who have an interest in arts and culture also to use the Rugby World Cup as a vehicle to showcase what they're doing. So it's really about just bringing out what's the best in Christchurch, what's the best in Canterbury, and making sure people can see that.
Do you see it as a charged event, or what do you see?
Oh, there'll be lots and lots of free events in the middle of this, and then there'll be the odd one that people have to pay for to go to as well.
Other good news, we will have the All Blacks in town at some part of the World Cup.
Yeah, well, they've already stated that they want to come down here, they want to connect with Christchurch. They're going to spend 4 or 5 days here in the lead up to their critical pool match against France, where they will be staying in Christchurch, they will be training here, and during that time they will be making sure that they have opportunities to connect with the people on a day-to-day basis.
We want to go to Auckland, but gee, it's expensive to stay up there. You've got a mate. What's he done for us?
Well, there's a guy called Smudge McNeilage that I used to play cricket with, and he's determined to make it easy for Cantabrians to get to Auckland for the quarterfinals. So he set up a Facebook site. It's called Let's Billet the Cantabs. And so he's gone to the Auckland public first and said, listen, I need a whole lot of beds. And so he's been able to gather in about 800 beds. And now he's coming to the people of Christchurch and saying, right, I've got these 800 beds. People will put you up for 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is you need.
This is free
of charge. And so why don't you have a look at this and talk to me, and let's connect the provider of the beds with the people who want to be there.
The next lot of tickets go on sale when?
Public sale starts on the 4th of July, so that'll be the big final push, if you like, around the whole ticket selling process.
Down the street, we've got a very, very attractive looks new stadium, doesn't it, in Dunedin? Still an opportunity for Cantabs to go down there?
Yeah, I think there is, and hopefully they'll feel that that's the case. There's a really nice match in the opening weekend. England-Argentina should have been here, but of course circumstances moved it. It's special for Dunedin now because it is the first major match in that brand new stadium. It's a critical pool match. There will be a swag of English fans following the team, and they make a bit of noise. There will be a big English media contingent, and this will be their first real taste of Rugby World Cup in New Zealand, so it's an important occasion. I think it'll be fun to be at.
So you can assure Cantabs that they will still be an integral part of the World Cup?
Absolutely. It's critical to me. If we're going to really deliver a stadium of 4 million, that has to include Canterbury.
And Pete hit the streets again today to find out how popular online shopping is in Canterbury.
Has the earthquake changed the way you shop? Do you online shop more than you've ever done before? We're at Tower Junction today, and that's the on-street question today. Do you use online shopping more than you used to prior to the earthquake? Do you buy online?
I'm not actually from Christchurch.
No, but do you buy online anyway?
I do. I buy a lot online.
Always.
Sure.
Yeah, I do sometimes.
Sometimes.
No.
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 Why is that?
I haven't got a computer to start with.
I'm not computer literate.
And we don't know how to work one.
Because I prefer to look at what I'm buying.
I don't know. I never have.
I wouldn't bother anyway. I mean, they charge a delivery fee, which is more than what it costs for your car to drive your car down and to get it and bring it back to you.
Well, you don't really see what you're getting before you get it.
Right.
A lot of things look really good and sometimes they aren't.
I don't know. I'm just so used to just going to the shops and just sort of go through the motions of going to the shops, yeah.
No, I like it. If you're going to shop, you might as well get out and do it.
Yeah, I'm all for doing things in real life, you know.
Okay, what sort of products do you buy?
Clothes and shoes and stationery.
Bit of everything really. Clothing, animals, like...
Animals?
Well, I mean, I keep fish at home, so I have quite the extensive...
Really?
I mainly get spray paint offline.
Spray paint?
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's no shops around anymore that I can get the kind of spray paint that I use to do my graffiti art.
What do you buy in particular?
Not food, but I generally buy consumer goods, electronics.
I do buy wine and things like that as well.
So is that New Zealand wine? Or?
Yes, definitely. Wine.
Really?
Yeah.
From where?
Grab one.
And where does it come from? Where's the country?
New Zealand.
From New Zealand?
Yeah.
Bike parts, clothes.
Discounted things like sort of like your beauty therapy or your hairdressing products and things like that.
How do you know the clothes and shoes are going to fit you?
Well, I buy them from a recognised outlet, and it was a bit of a trial and error first time, but we've got the sizes down pat now, and it's good.
I guess just shops that aren't in Christchurch, buy online and get it sent down.
Yeah, but do you buy footwear?
I haven't, no.
No.
Clothing, a wee bit. It's more my girlfriend that does that sort of stuff, but yeah.
You don't miss going through the racks and having a look?
Well, we still do that.
You still do? What's the turnaround time? How quick do you get a delivery?
Generally within a week.
Really?
And I'm quite prepared to wait that long for the savings that it offers.
You missed a few shops with the earthquake?
No, because we've been quite fortunate around this side of the area.
And you've never had a fizzy? You've always...
No, I've always had good luck, I guess.
No, well, normally they come with the exchange within a certain amount of time.
Oh, it's been alright because I just had to get used to the postage and having to not be able to get it straight away.
I've never been ripped,
really?
But it's just the sizing's the only thing.
Security's another thing.
In what way?
Putting credit card numbers out there, as much as the banks say it's safe and all that, it's much easier just to keep your personal information to yourself.
Street Talk today's thrown up a real range of answers, hasn't it? It surprised me, those that do, those that don't, and the range of products that they find they're able to source online. There's still some people like me who don't really trust giving you credit details and not sure whether it'll ever turn up, but hey, I'm surprised. It may well be the way of the future.
That's CTV News. I'm Kenetta Knight.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.